Hi friends, so today I want to introduce you to the book that has changed my life completely and effectively turned how I think of money upside down. And I'll also take you through a couple of the themes in the book that I think are the most relevant. It's a book by Vicki Robin called Your Money or Your Life, and it has the subtitle 9 Steps to Transforming Your Relationship with Money and Achieving Financial Independence. It does sound a little bit clickbaity with the subtitle, but I assure you it has some real good and some real tangible advice actually. Vicki says that over time, earning money and thus our jobs, since this is how we do earn money, have taken over our lives. And it's not really a wonder that it has been this way when you take a look at the time you actually spend on your job or doing things that are related to your job. For example, things that are related to your job but not necessarily seen as something that is very job related is such as getting ready in the morning, making lunch to eat during the day, commuting, overtime, the commute back home, and when you get home you might need to unwind a bit from a stressful day or a horrible boss, or maybe, God forbid, we worry about our job in our spare time. You also need to factor in costs associated with your job, such as the commuting cost, dress code if you have such, takeaway because we got stuck in traffic and got home late to make dinner, and so on. It's no wonder if you take all that into account. If you ask somebody what they do, they say, I'm an accountant. They don't say, oh, I'm an adventurer, but to pay the bills, I balance the books in this company. Vicki Robin beautifully phrases this as, we are not making a living, we are making a dying from work. You can ask yourself quickly, when you get back from work, making a living, do you feel more refreshed and energized than when you left earlier that morning? And that is the first major theme that I find important, is that we do spend most of our time either at our jobs or doing job-related activities, and not something that is truly bringing us happiness and fulfillment. The book then moves into talking about how we perceive money, and Vicki talks about money being our life energy. Money will always be what we exchange our life energy for. So all expenses we have is actually equal to a portion of our life energy we trade for the thing we want to have. So if we want to have this new $1,000 iPhone and we earn $15 an hour, we have to exchange 66 hours worth of life energy for this new iPhone. And then the big question comes, is it worth it? As Vicki puts it, our life energy is our allotment of time here on Earth, the hours of precious life available to us. Is this iPhone really worth the 66 hours with that in mind? So how do we answer this question? For some it's easy, for some it might not be. So the book defines 3 questions we can ask ourselves. The first one, did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction and value in proportion to life energy spent? I think it's a good question because it forces you to take into account the life energy spent for this item or service or whatever it is you're purchasing. Number 2, is the expenditure of life energy in alignment with my values and life purpose? Number 2 is more of a moral question to see if this aligns with your values and your inner moral compass. Number 3 is a pretty clever question, I think, because it forces you to think about the why. So why do you want this, or why do you want to buy this? Is it because it's something you truly need, because that is okay? Or is it something that you deep down maybe have wish to impress your neighbor with a new car, or do you wish to impress your colleague with a new watch, and so on? So the second major theme I find really relevant is that the book make you think about that money is life energy, and then if you convert your expenditure into life energy, it really forces you to think about if you actually need something and not just feel like it could be nice to have. The third major theme I find really relevant is to define your own enough. Vicki goes on to explain that the chase for more is just a chase versus the endless horizon. She illustrates it beautifully that when we first start spending money to cover bare necessities, we experience a level of fulfillment. As we make more money, we can now afford to add some comfort on top of the bare necessities, thus leading to even higher levels of fulfillment. We then make even more money and can now afford to add some luxury items. At a certain point, buying new stuff doesn't fill our internal fulfillment meter anymore. It rather leads to clutter, stress, and thus our fulfillment level goes down. And our satisfaction with the money spent goes down as well. we have hit our fulfillment ceiling, so to speak. Something that prompted me to start this channel actually was probably that I personally had hit my enough. This fulfillment ceiling is described in a paper from the Center of Health and Wellbeing from Princeton University by Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton. According to that research, emotional well-being doesn't improve further beyond an annual income of $75,000. The book then goes into a lot of details about how to track your spending and to make graphs and really follow how you use your money, both what's coming in and also how you spend it. And that is something that Vicki talks about a lot, to have a very clear picture about how your spending habits is. Because then you can do something active against those spending habits. This is something I won't talk about too much in this video, because I think that's maybe would stretch the video quite a lot. But another thing that she goes into afterwards is the FIRE movement, which you might or might not have heard about. It is a movement of early retirees, because FIRE is short for Financial Independence, Retire Early, and that is something I strive for as well. FIRE is something I will do a video on later. It's not something I will cover too much in this video, but I can shortly just say that FIRE is about having enough money invested and having a low enough yearly expenditures that your annual withdrawal from your investments can actually cover your annual expenses. And thus you can go on and on and on withdrawing without ever touching your actual core money. You just live off the dividends or the interest. By doing this withdrawal of the interest, then you can comfortably live off it and you're not forced to work. And this will free you up time, so you have time to make a living and not make a dying, as Vicki puts it. So that was just some of the topics that is covered in the book, and I could probably talk an hour or more about this book because it really changed my life and how I view my life energy, how I spend my energy and money. So this is really something I can highly recommend, and I can truly understand why this is considered a classic by people that have actually read it. So lastly, I want to say thank you for watching this video, and if you want to support me, you can either like or subscribe or comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.